sold the state of Kansas DOT a new fleet of trucks. So he was delivering a bunch of trucks out to Garden City, and I went out there to meet him and pick him up, bring him back, so he'd get back to Kansas City. And I was driving along and saw this thing sitting in a ditch, or a field right outside the road by Garden City. I stopped and went over and looked at it, and this old guy said, came walking over the hill, he said, "What do you want?" I said, "Well, I'm just looking at your truck." And he said, "Well, do you want to buy it?" I said, "All I want is the nameplates." He said, "It's the same price. Truck or the nameplates is $25. I said, "Well, that's too much for any part of it, as far away as I am from home." But I got his phone number and went home and called him back. I went back and got the truck. So I took it home just strictly to take the nameplates off it for my other 28. And then one thing led to another, and I wound up building a truck. About 4,000 hours, $8,000 or $10,000 later, well, this is what happened.
You did a wonderful job, and then I get the whole truck in a shot. And the benches are all hand built that you did yourself.
Yeah. The wood is catalpa wood. Nobody would think it had any value at all. I sure didn't think it had any value, but a friend of mine, John Baldwin, gave me wood and he said, "I want you to use that on there somehow." I thought, "Well, John, I hate to hurt your feelings, but it's terribly ugly." But I'll try it anyway. And so there was about a year of work involved in turning this wood into something that looks like something. I think wood's kind of pretty, really.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just don't think you could have done any better with this. This is just...
I'm sure I could have done a little better. I'm sure if I'd only had to do most of it only one time, it wouldn't have taken half as long.
How did you come up with the idea to paint the wheels?
It looked to me like that was the right color for them that day. I had them white and I knew that wasn't right.
You know that first ask where you throw wet the fruit?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they black wheel.
Turned up blue, didn't they? You did it, didn't you?
Well, now Morgan come out there and he said, "Damn, that's a good looking truck." I went to the shop and I painted them, I painted the rims silver, you know, and then I got some flaps on the back and I got them quarter flippers. And yeah, I'll let you guys paint the quarter flippers. He said, "Damn," he said, "that's a good looking engine." I did it.
It made a nice looking truck.
Yeah, that first quarter flippers, I think they went wide, you know.
Now were the fenders on it, or did you
No fenders, those rear fenders. The same guy that did my upholstery work found those fenders laying in a gully out in a pasture. And he said, "I don't know whether you use them or not," but he said, "It's a place to start." So I took those old fenders and began beating on them. Had to cut an awful lot out of the right one and replace a lot of metal in it. And then I just did an awful lot of body work on the thing, and I had to make my own brackets for the rear fenders. Had to be done in such a way that those little old spindly fenders would cover my big tires. So, you know, it's just another one of those things that figure out what it takes to make it work and then do it.
right?
And,
I imagine the motor must have been stuck when you found it, or?
the motor was bad. Had the crankshaft reground, and it still has the original bearings in it. It has quite an astounding engine. It's a Buick 6-cylinder overhead valve engine.
Oh.
Pressurized oiling system. It has insert bearings on the mains. roller cam followers. If you watch the engine run, you'll find out that there is no front crankshaft pulley on it, that it doesn't have a harmonic crank, or doesn't have a harmonic balancer. That's built onto the crankshaft with spring-loaded balance weights. The fan is driven by the camshaft. The fan runs backwards. So, you know, the blades are bent the opposite direction, so it pulls the air through. Terrifically ingenious engine, way ahead of its time. And it is a super smooth engine. But it's a pressurized oil system rather than a splash system.
Well, I didn't realize that wasn't the GMC engine, because GMC usually still had a flathead at that time, didn't they? Pre-war.
They were always using another GM product.
Oh, okay.
And in '28, this model of truck used the Buick engine, and I have a '36 model, and that has a flathead Oldsmobile engine. And in '39, GMC started with their own engine, which was the 228, 248, 270, that family of engines. But this basic engine design here was used on GMC's bigger engines, like the 360 and the, let's see, the 360. There's a 400, a 450, a 477. All of them built basically the same. It's an overhead valve, and it has the cylinder block that is a separate casting, and the crankcase is a separate casting. So it's a three-piece engine, bolts together like that. Very repairable, very big and heavy and strong. This was quite an education to see how things were done. Boy, GM was on top of the world at that time. They knew what they were doing. They were the leader.
Well, you've just done a beautiful job considering what you had to start with. And we talked about this. This is an artist rendering of what that truck looked like when Duane found it sitting there in the pasture. And if you didn't hear, he was interested in buying it just for the nameplates on the side of the hood. And the fella sold it, the whole truck, to him for $25, which he thought it was too much at the time. But we'll get some actual photographs of the rebuilding process. You can see that engine here. There's up on the hoist and finally back in the truck. Looks like it's a driver by that point. We'll see the process.